Hello and welcome to our new video collection about English literature from our school All You Can Learn. So today we're talking about Mary Shelley and her famous masterpiece Frankenstein. Mary Shelley was born in 1797, London, from two very important people. Her mother was Mary Wollstonecraft. She was a very famous feminist at the time, and her father, William Godwin, was a very famous philosopher. And in his circle, there were many distinguished men, such as Coleridge, Wordsworth, and other poets, that Mary Shelley learned to know and absorb all their ideas. At the age of 15, she met Percy Bysshe Shelley. He was one of her father's students, and he was already married with another woman. But they were too in love. So they finally eloped in Europe, so in the continent. But they struggled financially for several years. And during this period, they traveled all around Europe and Italy. And unfortunately, they experienced the loss of 3 different children. In 1822, Percy unfortunately passed away. He drowned in the Gulf of La Spezia in Italy. This obviously left Mary very heartbroken. But nevertheless, she worked really hard to support herself and the only son that actually survived. She worked really hard by writing. She published other novels, and she also promoted her husband's work. She died from brain cancer in 1851 at the age of 53. Letter 1. To Mrs. Saville, England, St. Petersburg, December 11th, 1700. You will rejoice to hear that no disaster has accompanied the commencement of an enterprise which you have regarded with such evil forebodings. I arrived here yesterday, and my first task is to assure my dear sister of my welfare and increasing confidence in the success of my undertaking. This is how the novel begins. So let's have a look to the plot summary. The first narrator is Captain Walton. He is on an expedition in the North Pole, and he is stuck in the ice with his ship. We get to know this by the letters that he writes to his sister. The story opens with these letters. Walton rescues Dr. Victor Frankenstein, who is weakened by cold and the long travel by the sledge. Victor starts telling his story of how he created the creature. He is a doctor, consumed by the desire to discover life and the secret of life. He spent months creating a creature out of old body parts, and one stormy night, with the help of thunder, he finally brings it to life. But when he sees what he has created, he is horrified. So he flees in remorse, wanders around all the night, and when he comes back to his laboratory the day after, the creature is gone. Victor decides to go back to his city, Geneva, but he receives a letter informing him that his younger brother, William, is dead, assassinated. He hurries home, and while he is passing through the forest where his brother was murdered, he catches a glimpse of the creature, and so he gets convinced that the creature has killed his brother. While a young girl adopted by Victor's family is tried and condemned and then executed for the brother of William, Victor, goes away on a vacation, try to ease his grief. While he's on a vacation in the mountains, and while he is walking through an enormous glacier, he encounters the creature. The creature admits the murder of his brother and begs forgiveness. He did it just to reach his cruel creator. Afterward, the creator asks for a mate, a female, another monster like him. Victor is persuaded by the creator, but however, one night while he is working on his second creation, he sees the monsters outside the window glaring at him with a terrifying grin. So he changes his mind and destroys his new creation. The furious creature swears revenge. The day after, Victor is arrested for the murder of his friend, Henry Clerval, that was strangled as his brother William was. Victor is eventually acquitted for the crime and he goes back to Geneva. While he's in Geneva, Victor marries Elizabeth, but she is killed by the creator, and this makes Victor hunting the creator up to the North Pole. And there is where Walton, the captain at the very beginning of the stories, meets Victor. The last part of the story is again told by Walton's letters to his sister. Victor dies short after. A few days later, Walton goes back in Victor's chamber to find, surprisingly, the creature. It is crying over the body of his dead creator. The creature looks at Walton and asserts that now that his creator has died, he can end his suffering and solitude. And the creature leaves. This is the story, more or less. Obviously, it is a whole book, so you would need to read all of it. I hope that you were expecting spoilers at the end of this. So what's particular about the narration of this book? Well, the narration style of this book is very peculiar. It has been defined a Chinese box structure. In fact, the narration is on 3 different levels. First, as we can consider the bigger box, is the Captain Walton's letter. So it's like an epistolary novel. Then the second level, let's say the middle box, it's Victor's story. And then the third level is the creator's story, when Victor meets the creator and it tells his story. Then we switch back to Victor narration, and then we switch back again to Captain Walton narration. All the passages between the different levels of narration are swift and yet absolutely natural. This makes the novel difficult to categorize, as it is an epistolary novel, and at the same time, it is not. This is something very peculiar about this novel, something completely new, one of Mary Shelley's inventions. Creator or monster? The real question and answer throughout the novel is, who is the real monster? Victor or the creator? Well, common knowledge has already given us an answer, as most of the people think that the creator, the monster, the zombie, is called Frankenstein. But Frankenstein is the creator, not the monster. We see the monster only by Frankenstein's eyes until the core of the story, when the creator speaks. This is how Frankenstein's vision changes for his own creature. How can I describe my emotion at this catastrophe, or how delineate the wretch from whom with such infinite pains and care I had endeavoured to form? His limbs were in proportion, and I had selected his feature as beautiful. Beautiful, great God! His yellow skin scarcely covered the work of muscles and arteries beneath. His hair was of a lustrous black, and flowing his teeth of pearly whiteness. But these luxuries only formed a more horrid contrast with his watery eyes that seems almost of the same colour of dun white sockets, in which they were yet this shriveled complexion and straight black lips. So the creature is absolutely beautiful, and then in just over a second it's absolutely a monster. Now this is the moment in which the creature comes to life. Victor flew, as we already know, Victor flees from the laboratory and peacefully go back to sleep. Well, not really peacefully, because this is how he was sleeping. I had before endured and threw myself on the bed in my clothes, endeavouring to seek a few moments of forgetfulness. But it was in vain. I slept, indeed, but I was disturbed by the wildest dreams. I thought I saw Elizabeth in the bloom of health, walking in the streets of Ingolstadt. Delighted and surprised, I embraced her. But as I imprinted the first kiss on her lips, they became livid with the hue of death. Her features appeared to change, and I thought that I had the corpse of my dead mother in my arms. A shroud enveloped her form, and I saw the grey worms crawling in the fold of flannel. I started from my sleep in horror. So here Victor wakes up, and this is what happens. A cold dew covered my forehead, my teeth chattered, every limb became convulsed, when, by the dim and yellow light of the moon, as it forced its way through the window shutters, I beheld the wretch. Wretch is miserable, and it's how the creature is called all throughout the novel. The miserable monster whom I had created. He held up the curtain of the bed, and his eyes, if eyes may be called, were fixed on me. His jaws opened, and he muttered some inarticulated sound, while a grin wrinkled his cheeks. He might have spoken, but I did not hear. One hand was stretched out, seemingly to detain me, but I escaped and rushed downstairs. I took refuge in the courtyard belonging to the house which I inhabited, where I remained during the rest of the night, walking up and down in the greatest agitation, listening attentively, catching and fearing each sound as if it were to announce the approach of the demoniacal corpse to which I had miserably given to life. So Victor creates and then abandons the creature in less than a night. So who's the real monster? The creature has never a name. He is called creature, wretched, that means miserable. Sometimes it is called a monster. And during his narration, we get to know that the only thing that he wants is to be accepted. But he cannot be accepted, not even from his creator. Now this is the sorrow of the beast. This is when the creature and Victor meet in the wood. So this is the third level of narration. This is the creature speaking. I expected this reception, said the demon. All men hate the wretched. How then must I be hated, who am miserable beyond all living things? Yet you, my creator, detest and spurn, reject me, thy creator, to whom thou art bound by ties only dissoluble by the annihilation of one of us. You purpose to kill me. How dare you sport thus with life? And then later on, he, as is telling his story, he again curses his creator. Cursed creator, why did I live? Why in that instant did I not extinguish the spark of existence which you had so wantonly bestowed? I know not. Despair had not yet taken possession of me. My feelings were those of rage and revenge. we see the creature slowly convert from despair to rage. Yet, this is a human reaction, way more human than Victor's reaction of abandoning him in just one night. So in the end, the creature reveals to love Victor as an abused child still have for his tormented parents love. As Victor's hate is the only parental feeling that he has ever experienced. So this is how the creator departs himself when he sees Frankenstein dead at the very end. So these are Walton words describing what is the creature doing over Victor's dead body or corpse. Oh, Frankenstein, generous and self-devoted being, what does it avail that I now ask thee to pardon me? I, who irretrievably destroy thee by destroying all thou you loved. Alas, he is cold, he cannot answer. And these are the very ending words of the beast at the end of the book. Farewell, I leave you, and in you the lust of humankind whom these eyes will ever below. Farewell, Frankenstein. If thou wert yet alive and yet cherished a desire of revenge against me, it would be better satiated in my life than in my destruction. But it was not so. Thou didst seek my extinction, that I might not cause greater wretchedness. And if yet, in some mode unknown to me, thou hadst not ceased to think and feel, thou wouldst not desire against me a vengeance greater than which I feel. Blasted as thou wert, my agony was still superior to thine, for the bitter sting of remorse will not cease to rankle in my wounds until death shall close them forever. But soon, he cried, with sad and solemn enthusiasm, I shall die, and what I now feel be no longer felt. Soon these burning miseries will be extinct. I shall ascend my funeral pyre triumphantly, and exult in the agony of the torturing flames. The light of conflagration will fade away. My ashes will be swept into the sea by the winds. My spirit will sleep in peace, or if it thinks, it will not surely think thus. Farewell. He sprung from the cabin window, and he said this upon the ice raft which lay close to the vessel. He was soon borne away by the waves and lost in darkness and distance. So this is how it ends. It doesn't really sound as a monster, doesn't he? It's more human than Victor. But I will leave this up to you. What do you think? Who is the real monster? There are many themes all through the novel, but we cannot explore them all together. So let's just talk about the theme of alienation. Now, alienation is a big theme all throughout the novel. The creature explicitly blames his alienation from human for becoming a monster, as we can see in this part. My protectors had departed and had broken the only link that held me through the world. For the first time, the feeling of revenge and hatred filled my bosom. and I did strive to control them. But allowing myself to borne away by the steam, I bent my mind towards injury and death. So this is the effect that alienation is having on the creature. But it's not only the monster who is affected by alienation. Indeed, also Victor it is. In fact, Victor is alone when he creates the monster, and his laboratory is more of a cell than a laboratory. That is widely shown in these words. I collected bones from charnel houses and disturbed with profane fingers the tremendous secrets of the human frame. In a solitary chamber, or rather cell, at the top of the house, and separated from all the other apartment by a gallery of staircase, I kept my workshop of filthy creation. Every time that Frankenstein is alone, he either makes terrible decision or terrible creations. The novel suggests that alienation is caused at the origin by alienation of oneself, as the monster, for example, recognizes ugliness not from someone else's judgments, but from his own. He sees himself in a pool, and he acquiesces the fact that he is ugly. And in the end, when Victor dies and the creature is completely alone, he declares his intention to kill himself. There is nothing alive that can bond this creature to the living world or to humankind. This might suggest that this is something that Mary really felt. She felt and suffered alienation from her family, as she felt guilty for her mother's death, and then her stepmother never really accepted Mary and accepted more the other sister that she had. And then she suffered alienation from society because being together with a married man was absolutely scandalous, so people tended to avoid her. So probably she had explored the effect of alienation on her characters, and this is pretty much what she thinks of. So thank you very much for watching the video. If you like this video, please press like, and if you want to hear any other English literature masterpiece in order to, enlighten this quarantine that we are living, please leave a comment below, or don't forget to like our page on You Can Learn Arese on Facebook, and you can also comment over there. Thank you very much.